Mr. Alexander.
Well, you know, this has received a lot of really good comments, and probably a lot of them are pretty accurate. For those of you who don't know, the municipal code's over 900 pages long, so good luck in trying to figure the darn thing out. It's very, very difficult. Unfortunately, its effect, I think, is minimal on some and maximum on others. Although it's difficult to decipher, keep in mind that those individuals in the community who have to comply with the municipal code are the everyday paying citizen. And the one that usually it's the businessman who is faced with knowing every single one of these codes. And even worse, when someone comes down and tells you you have violated it, and this has been addressed before, we wind up being punitive as opposed to understanding and trying to help people in the community. Too many times, too many folks have gone through a very difficult time. Some being threatened to lose their house in some cases if they don't comply. Some being told they'd be arrested for an infraction, not even a misdemeanor. It becomes somewhat intolerable. And I think that's sad. And it only happens once, it's too many times. But it's happened numerous times. It does need review. And though they're not saying it all the time, I've had members of the business community come to me. We keep priding ourselves in being business friendly. I understand we should be business friendly. And openly, many businesses say we are friendly. Privately, many have a reluctant voice in saying, I'm having a difficult time getting through City Hall. I'm having a difficult time with the inspection process. I'm having a difficult time in meeting certain deadlines. I want some understanding, and that's a fair request. It's a very fair request. We have to be a little bit more understanding in these economic times of the difficulties people are going through. And I don't care if it's a businessman going through a difficulty or someone having a difficult time keeping his lawn green. This community has to look at the times we're in right now. And a 900-page document sometimes doesn't mean a whole lot if you're having to move out of your home.
Mrs. Williams.
Well, the municipal code is indeed a living document. It's not, it never stands still. In our city, it's looked at, I think it's almost by law. It's looked at, it's different portions are looked at almost every 6 months, and things are addressed that are obsolete through the state, changing their codes or whatever. Keep in mind, many of our codes are dictated by the state, by the master, whatever it is. Anyway, they're dictated by the state. But anyway, the codes are looked at for clarification. They're tweaked a little bit sometimes. The main thing that can be done, I think, is if someone has identified an area that is really difficult to deal with, is really causing their business a lot of difficulty, or in general. And by the way, 10 years ago, as late as that, we did have a lot of complaints about how difficult it was to work through the city. Businesses, developers were complaining about the strict, stringent codes we had. And once their business was open and up, they came and said, you know, my business is doing better here than it's done in any other city, partly because we maintain the quality. And I'm not going to take any, I'm not embarrassed for that at all. That's what Rancho Cucamonga has established. If we let all those codes go, we may as well go south of the border and live down there, because that's what Rancho Cucamonga is about, making sure that you know what's expected. And we've implemented lots of new software, so businesses have a much easier time. You know, you can sit in your jammies and your fuzzy slippers and apply for permits. We've tried to make it as easy to do all that. Anyway, and should anyone identify a situation that's really a problem, bring it to us. We'll sit down, we'll set up some staff people, we'll go through it. Sometimes it's a misinterpretation of the code. So Right now, I don't know of any code that I think is punitive. Again, sometimes it's interpretation, sometimes it's not the code at all. It's a whole other subject.
Now will come time for the concluding remarks. Concluding remarks will run from the right to the left, so we'll be starting with Mr. Muniz.
I have learned how to follow, and I know how to lead, and make tough decisions without leaving a wake in my path. I've had some major accomplishments in my career. One was passage to the U.S. Congress of major legislation dealing with the amendments to the Mine Safety and Health Act of 1982. That work resulted in the savings of approximately 150,000 jobs across the United States, and at least 6,000 jobs here in the state of California. And that was supported by the building and construction trades of the AFL-CIO. I came to work for the government division with the entire backing of the AFL-CIO as a result of my activities in legislation like this. I also prosecuted those in the entertainment industry after the Twilight Zone tragedy. So I made some tough decisions in my day. But my greatest achievement, I thought, was being the chief opponent on the LMD2 tax rate increase. Many of those here have seen that I can be very tough on people who treat others with little regard to their concerns. I have no regard for those who ignore the vote of the people, which is the basis of our democracy, which continues to protect with sacrifice those who have proudly served our country, and especially those who have paid the ultimate price. I'm a Jeffersonian politician. I say stick with Vic. On November 4th, I won't let you down. I have no special interest controlling me, and I am accountable only to you, the taxpayer. I'll get results if you elect me into office. My candidate is supported, and I am endorsed by the former mayor and current city councilman from the city of 29 Palms, the 5-term mayor from the city of La Mirada, Mr. Dave Peters, and also the former city manager, Mr. Adolfo Reta from the city of Monterey Park. Thank you, folks. Appreciate your support.
Dr. Kennedy.
Leadership matters. There's a book that's titled The 21 Laws of Leadership, and the very first chapter addresses the law of the lid. It explains that an organization, a city, a school, a district, a business, a city will never ever rise above the highest level of leadership. If your leadership is a 7, then your city will be a 6. Therefore, you must be intentional about the leaders you select. You cannot leave it to status quo or chance. You can't stay the same and grow. You can't have what you've always had and be forward thinking. I will bring you leadership for the future. I will bring new ideas, proven leadership and experience, a skill set that will take the city to the next level. You don't have to be sick to get better, but you do have to know better to do better. And I will bring the knowledge and the skill set for this community, for our community, for our families, to build a stronger, better Rancho. Thank you.